Space whales? Nope, rather deal with devils. Chapter 1 Fan Fiction by Azazyel. The world of Worm, made by Wildbow, was a cesspit of suffering that just escalated its endless suffering into pure incredulity and coined the term Grim Derp. So, given an altered lewd worm Siowa by my demonic sponsors, I was forced to take a number of kill targets and missions that I needed to complete within 10 years before I was free of all my responsibilities to my patrons while keeping my powers. Killing some completely psycho villains that made the Joker look like a saint, as well as merely surviving fighting 3 mega monsters that could destroy a planet, in return for opening the entire omniverse for my own desire to go wherever I want with the portal ability I could open once a week. Especially when I, as a completely normal person, was slated for the void or purgatory after my abrupt death by drone falling onto my head was more than fair. Due to the many kill targets and missions I was forced to take, I did actually have all the important perks, and there was truly a list of which. So once my abrupt teleportation through a demonic portal ejected me into the standard alleyway in the middle of Brockton-based city of Worm, I felt out my various powers. Most important was my magic core, an ever-evolving magical core that could allow me to do conceivably any type of magic once I absorbed the energy from the worlds around me to fill the core with power. The only caveat was that I had to actually understand the core mechanics of the magic I was working with. I had a lot of perks that defended me from mind control, scrying, and other things, but even as I stood up and made sure my human body was still fine from my abrupt death and rebirth, I was already leaning on my portal ability, pulling it to life, and with a thrum and harsh crackling of energy, I saw a large ring of rainbow light appear in front of me. I hesitated for a moment as I considered where in the hell I should actually go in the vast multiverse. I could literally, once a week, open a portal to any world at some random point in the world's early main timeline, and once I open a portal to that world, time would be flowing between the worlds even if I wasn't there. So after hesitating for a moment, I was shaken by the sound of a gunshot rather closer, so I bit my bottom lip, and then I leaped into the portal with an interesting destination in mind. The transportation through the portal wasn't anything special. If anything, I made a damned fool of myself as my leaping through the glowing rainbow of a portal only led me to roll across the ground as I skidded across some grass before I came to a stop to stare up at the darkening twilight sky above me. For a moment, there was silence, and then I heard a harsh woman's voice ring out. "Who? No, I cannot allow witnesses." Then I felt my newly enhanced senses screaming at me to move, and I frantically rolled to the side as a spear of light pierced the ground beside me. But even as I rolled to my feet and took in the dying young man on the ground, I realized I fucking landed in a terrible moment and place as I had landed in DXD like I intended to, but I had fucking landed in the middle of what was supposed to be a park that was empty but instead landed in a park that only had a single and a dying soul within it. By that, I meant the lovely scene of Rainier killing Issei Hayudu with a light spear. You almost feel like someone who has drowned themselves in devil contracts. Well, killing you is only right with how many contracts with devils you must have. Rainier snorted, and then she summoned another light spear, but paused as a malevolent presence filled the park. See, I may have taken the mage power source for my powers, but at my core, I was bound to hell by my favors till I fulfilled them, and that came with its own perks. Namely, the large single-sided terrible-looking greatsword that had a large evil-looking eye on the middle of the core of the blade was clearly modeled after Soul Edge from the Soul Calibur series. Were swords cliché? Yes. Were they cool? Most certainly. But Soul Edge, being a single-sided greatsword, was less of a sword and more of a force of nature, as its nature was my demonic soul-bound weapon that would devour the souls of beings I killed to strengthen itself. Not only did I call upon Soul Edge, I engaged the most potent combat power I got that wasn't my magic core due to how I couldn't use it beyond filling my body with power, slightly augmenting it. Simple flight, Superman style, with a weak barrier forming around me to protect me from the effects of my flight as I could, according to the Siowa reach speeds of 1500 km/h, and as I rose up into the air, Rainier frowned with her spear held up defensively. It's almost ironic, you could say. I started as I hefted the heavy weight of Soul Edge into the air, and as Rainier's brows creased and were about to say something, I dashed forward in my flight, and as she raised her light spear to skewer me, I yelled out as I threw my hand outwards, releasing the dirt and gravel I grabbed when I rolled on the ground. Pocket sand, bitch. All those years of accurately training to perfectly splash people in the pool directly in the eyes were worth it, as even the supernatural fallen angel that was Rainier still, in the end, had human eyes. There was a saying, a master swordsman could easily die by simply tripping on a rock while on the field, to a complete novice. Rainier wasn't a master combatant, and when I threw a cloud of dirt and small rocks into her eyes she couldn't even react beyond reeling back shouting, but that shout turned into a wet gurgle as Soul Edge purred with vicious glee as the large greatsword's blade split open Rainier's chest as I carved her open from her right side shoulder to her left waist. Soul Edge was not a small weapon, and with it being a demonic pact-bound weapon, its sharpness couldn't be questioned, so with that single chopping motion, Rainier was literally split in half as her lower half dropped to the ground, and the effect of that on her body and psyche was nothing less than the end of her life. She collided with the ground with a wet splattering noise, with her two black fallen wings that I missed twitching heavily as Rainier gurgled and drowned with her one working lung. "You got the bitch?" I heard a voice whisper, and I saw that Issei was still alive, only barely, making me grimace as I saw how he was holding on to the summoning ticket that Rias's devil gave him during his date with Rainier. "Yeah man, I got the bitch. Here, let me try to help you," I said with a wry smile as I gently took the summoning token from his hands, and then I pushed my mana into the summoning token, with it glowing brightly with crimson light. "You have summoned the heiress of..." I heard a confident voice speaking as a very feminine form was formed out of the crimson light, and the voice abruptly stopped and froze, taking in the scene of the carnage. "Hey. Dude here got skewered by fallen angel over there for having a sacred gear," I said, pointing at the twitching, dying form of Rainier that was bleeding out. "He wants to survive, so can you fix him up?" I asked, and then my voice drew off as I saw Issei's eyes fog over and go still. "Actually, never mind, the dude already died," I said wryly, and Rias Gremory flatly stared at me before taking a deep breath. Rias snapped her fingers, creating another little magical circle, and then she spoke into it, saying for whoever was on the other end to teleport over. "So how did this all happen?" Rias asked me, and I shrugged as I wasn't going to get in on the whole event, so I just explained what I knew had happened. Was just minding my own business on my way to Kyoto, until I saw that lady over there named Rainier saying how his death was God's fault for giving him a sacred gear, and when she found out that I was a witness she decided to kill me as well. I explained, and as I did so Akino Himejima teleported over as well, and as she came out of the teleportation she giggled evilly seeing Rainier's form, and then she skipped over and kicked her over onto her back so she could take a look at the fallen's face. "Yup, Rias, it's a fallen angel who just randomly killed a sacred gear wielder in our territory, so how much will we be paying this handsome guest?" Akino said cheerfully before her smile dropped as she took in Issei's form as Rias stood over him. "I am well aware of her being a fallen Akino," Ria said dryly before sighing as she took out several chess pieces, "and I got to see her reincarnation, Issei Hayadu, with all her pawn pieces from her evil piece set. Look, are you willing to come with us to explain what had happened? I swear on my name as the heiress of the Gremory clan that no harm shall come to you unless provoked. As I need a report on this, so I can send this to our Lady Leviathan, that helms the foreign affairs," Ria said, frowning, and I blinked as I thought this wasn't going to be a big deal. Aren't you guys at war or something with the fallen?" "Sure, I don't mind coming along, though," I added on with the girls relaxing, and then Akino went on to explain, while teleporting me to the Koa schoolhouse, about how sure the factions were in a cold war, but still fallen, killing people of interest in their territory, and actually killing fallen in said territory needed to be logged and taken care of.